From the get-go, I knew what I was about. Even as a little kid, my dolls and teddy bears were the healthiest on the block, all thanks to Dr. Julia. I'd wrap their tiny limbs in bandages made from torn pillowcases, and I'd cook up medicine from crushed berries and water. There, I'd coo to my stuffed bear, Teddy. Doc Julia will fix you right up. He'd sit there, all button eyes and floppy ears, looking like he believed every word. My parents caught on quick to my antics. Every evening, they'd sit on the rickety couch while I explained my latest surgery or miracle cure. My dad would raise his eyebrows and say, "So, Dr. Julia, will Teddy make it through the night?" With hands on my hips, I'd assure him, "Dad, Teddy's gonna be right as rain. Just you watch." By the time I hit school, my sights were set on real human medicine. I signed up for the first aid club as soon as I could scribble my name on the sign-up sheet. I soaked up everything like a sponge at those meetings, from bandaging sprains to performing CPR on dummies. "Hey, Julia, take it easy there. That dummy's already dead," my buddy Mark would joke as I pumped away at chest compressions. "Better practice on the dead one than need it and mess up on a live one," I'd shoot back, all focused and serious, even then. High school flew by, and it was no surprise to anyone when I said I was going off to university for nursing. My folks weren't exactly swimming in cash, but they made it happen. Mom took on extra shifts at the diner, and Dad did some odd jobs on weekends. The day I left, Mom hugged me tight, her apron still dusted with flour. "Make us proud, Jules. Not that you haven't already," she whispered, teary-eyed. "I will, Mom. And I'll come back and fix up all those cuts and burns from the diner," I promised, trying to lighten the mood. University was a whole new ball game. I chose one in a city so different from our sleepy little town that it might as well have been another planet. I stayed on after graduation, working first in a public clinic. That place was a madhouse, always bustling, always something to do. I loved it, though. Loved the grit and hustle, loved the feeling of actually making a difference. "Julia, we need you in room 4, stat," my supervisor would call out. On cue, I'd sprint down the hall, my nurse's shoes squeaking on the linoleum floor. "On it," I'd yell back, ready for whatever waited behind that door. But, after a few years, the itch to do something more crept up on me. That's when I stumbled into the world of cosmetology. It wasn't a far leap, really, still helping people, just in a different way. I took courses at night, aced them, and snagged a license. Before I knew it, I was working at a swanky private clinic, trading bandages for beauty creams and fillers. It was another kind of chaos, less about life and death, more about beauty and confidence. But even that wasn't enough after a while. I wanted my name on the door, wanted control over how things were done. So, I did the craziest thing yet, I took out a loan and opened my own place. Just a small office to start, but it was mine. All mine. My days became a blur of clients, treatments, and endless paperwork. Nights and weekends were swallowed up by marketing plans and budget balancing. Friendships boiled down to quick texts and even quicker coffee runs. "Girl, when you gonna take a break?" Annie, a friend from nursing school, would ask during our rare meetups. "When I'm dead, probably," I'd laugh, though the thought wasn't too far from the truth. So there I was, knee-deep in my dream, making it happen one long day at a time. It was tough, tougher than I'd thought, but it was worth it. Every new client, every successful treatment, they all added up. I was building something, something that mattered, at least, to me. Life's funny, you know? Just when you think you've got it all sorted, it throws you a curveball. For me, that curveball was Michael. I met him at a bash Annie dragged me to. The kind where the music's too loud, the drinks are too strong, and I'm wondering what I'm even doing there. But then, there he was, leaned against the bar with a smirk that could stop traffic. "Hey, you look like you'd rather be anywhere but here," he chuckled, sliding over with a couple of beers in hand. I couldn't help but laugh, raising an eyebrow. "That obvious, huh?" "Only to a fellow sufferer. I'm Michael, by the way," he said, handing me a beer. Julia, I replied, taking the drink. We clinked bottles, and that was it. We talked all night about everything, work, life, our crazy dreams. Turned out, he was a graphic designer, a creative soul, but with a love for the simple things, just like me. Fast forward 2 years, and we're picking out rings. Life with him was easy, like a Sunday morning. His mom, Linda, was a real gem too, helping us plan the wedding like she was born for it. "Oh, honey, these flowers will look divine with the tablecloths," Linda would say, bustling around with that planner of hers that never left her side. "Thanks, Linda, I'd be lost without you," I'd admit, meaning every word. She had an eye for detail and a way of making everything seem effortless. The big day came and went in a blur of vows, laughter, and dancing. Michael moved into my rented apartment shortly after. We sat down, spread all our bills and dreams on the kitchen table, and figured out a game plan like two generals before a battle. "I'll handle the everyday stuff, groceries, utilities, the works. You just focus on knocking out that business loan," Michael proposed, all serious and businesslike. "Sounds like a plan," I agreed, relieved to have him on board with the finances. We even started talking about saving up for a house, maybe a couple of kids down the line. Everything was clicking into place. But then, things got weird with Linda. She started acting all distant and cold, a total 180 from the wedding planner extraordinaire I knew. No more invites over for Sunday dinner, no calls, just radio silence. "Babe, what's up with your mom? Did I do something wrong?" I finally asked Michael one evening, after weeks of getting the cold shoulder. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Look, Julia, Mom's, well, she's got some health issues, mental health stuff. It's making her act out. It's not you, I promise. Should I talk to her, try to smooth things over?" I suggested, though the thought of confronting Linda made my stomach twist. No, let's just give her space. I don't want you caught up in her drama," Michael insisted, his tone final. I was relieved, to be honest. Dealing with in-law drama on top of running a business was not how I envisioned married life. So, I backed off, focusing on my clients and that mountain of a loan I was determined to conquer. A year into our marriage, and the sweet setup Michael and I had was crumbling. He came up to me one evening, looking all kinds of serious. "Julia, listen, Mom's not doing great. Her health's gone downhill fast. I need to help her out," he started, avoiding my eyes. "And by help her out, you mean?" I prodded, already dreading the answer. "I mean financially. I gotta take care of her bills for a bit," he said, as if it was just a minor change in plans. "A bit? Michael, what does that mean for us? For our plans?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "It means I need you to cover our stuff. Just for a while, babe, I promise," he said, with a look that meant he was pleading. So, there I was, thrown into covering everything. Rent, utilities, groceries, you name it, I paid it. My days at the office stretched longer and longer. I skipped lunches, worked through weekends, took every client I could get my hands on. One night, I called my folks, voice nearly breaking. "Hey, Dad, it's me. Things are a bit tight right now. Would you mind helping out a bit?" "Of course, sweetheart. We'll send a little something your way," Dad said, his voice full of worry. This went on for over a year. I managed to pay off the loan from my office. It was mine, all mine, but the victory felt hollow. I was bone-tired, running on fumes. One evening, I couldn't hold it in any longer. "Michael, this temporary thing has been over a year. I'm burned out. It's too much." He looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time in months. "I'll get a second job. I'll sort it out," he said, finally showing some spine. True to his word, he got that second job, but it was like trading one problem for another. Now, he was never home, and when he was either too tired to talk or too stressed to be the man I married. Months rolled by, and nothing changed. The money he gave me for the house was a joke, barely enough to cover a week's groceries.